Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again for another card making video. Okay, so trying something different today. I'm going to make a slightly different style background using some of the Nested Essential dies. Okay, so I'm always looking for something different to do. I like to create my own backgrounds and stuff like that. So this time around I'm using die cuts, and I've done a sort of similar thing with punches where you've stacked them together to make a bigger element, and I've done that this time with these die cuts and sort of it's not an ombre as such, but you know, fading out to a lighter colour back to the white basic white card base. Okay, so this one is using a combination of Calypso Coral and Petal Pink. So together they look really nice. They're not my favourite colours in the SU colour family, but it looks really cute. And that's the Calypso Coral been brought through in the Stampin' as well. And this is Granny Apple Green for the foliage there. So we're going to make a variation of this. So the little flower comes from the Sentimental Park stamp set. Okay, so I've just used this one here, stamped it, and then there's a coordinating die to go with it. Lots of different elements you can use in there. The sentiment is from Wonderful Thoughts. Okay, so I'm just using the thinking of you in that. This funky shape is from Nested Essentials. So not only do you get this nice unusual shape, but you get the rounded rectangles and these lovely little banners, and they're all got double stitching. Well, that's got double stitching, that's got like little dot stitching, and then this is like a rope effect stitching, so all slightly different. And then the what I'm using as my foliage is this wonderful die from the Thoughtful Wishes set. Okay, so that's what we've done. So lots of die cutting has had to happen for this. So I'm going to mix up the colourway, and we're going to bring in blues instead of the pinks and reds. So what I've already done ahead of time is die cut 3 of the larger shapes in white. I've got 2 in Pool Party, and I've got 1 in Night of Navy. Okay, so that's what we're going to build our background with. Use the white ones for a moment. Okay, and just bring in a basic white card base, which I've already cut. Just gonna burnish the top there, and we're just going to use some I'm going to use seal. If you prefer to use something else, then please do so. So just going to pop some glue onto the back of these. So if you run it down the length and a little bit on the other side, that'll secure it nicely. And we're going to work from the top and bottom of the card. So I'm looking to layer this on so that I've got a nice even gap top and bottom, and then at the bottom of the actual card itself. So that looks about right. And because you've got a straight edge here, it's reasonably easy to line up. I'm going to do another one at the top of the card here, in exactly the same way, looking at those areas there. Make sure it's straight, or straight enough anyway. And then we've got one more to pop into the middle. Okay, so again, I'm going to be looking for those points to be central here, and just eyeballing this distance so that it looks the same. Okay, so it doesn't have to be exact at all. Okay, so this middle one is more of a marker, if you like, for the one that's going to go on top, just so that I know that they're all nice and even, and it also helps with the spacing of the ones that are going to go here. Okay, so speaking of the ones that go there, we're going to use the Pool Party ones here. So these ones are going up on dimensionals, so it just gives the card that extra level of dimension. Okay, so these ones are going to go in between here. So having that one in the middle just helps me make sure that that spacing is going to be nice and even. Okay, and I'm just checking this distance again, making sure it looks straight and even, and we'll do the same with this one. So there and there. Well, okay, so there we are with that one. I've already got this Night of Navy piece die cut, but we need to put our sentiment on there. Okay, so I'll pop that to one side for a second, and I'm just going to bring in this little bit of scrap here. Okay, so I've already got this smaller die ready to go. I'm actually going to bring in Blueberry Bushel rather than the Night of Navy. So on the other card I used the same colour ink as that sort of layered shape there, but Blueberry Bushel is really nice, and it's just a little brighter than Night of Navy, and I thought it would just look nice to bring in that other colour. Okay, so little trick there in that I knew the stamp would fit inside there, but I've only got a limited size piece of paper, so I've just carefully stamped within that die cut shape, and I know that that's going to cut just right. Okay, so I'm going to put that onto the cutting plate ready to go, but before we do that, just so that I'm killing several birds with one stone, I need to die cut some flowers as well. So I've already done 3 and we need 5. Okay, so there's another one stamped here, also using Blueberry Bushel ink. So just grabbing some scraps at the scrap bin to use those up. And while that ink is still not quite dry, we're going to use our Wink of Stella and just pull out some of that colour into those flower petals. Okay, you can use a damp brush as well. Okay, so that just sort of smears the ink a little bit and then gives you this other little effect. And then we can just die cut these out. So make sure that this is the right way around. It's that way around. So that petal with the little sort of lump on it is the best way to line up this one. So we'll pop that on, and then we can just run that through the die cut machine. So these individually would go through the mini cut and emboss. Okay, and we're going to have to just reposition this one to get that other flower cut. Looking for that little one with a little bump on it again, which is there. Like so, and then we'll just run that one through as well. It's only small, so it only takes a second. I love die cutting, it's just a phenomenal technology. Okie dokie. So this guy can just go onto this navy piece. And for this one I'm just lining up those middle points. Just making sure the ends are straight. It's actually a little deceptive, I find, layering this one. You think you got it right, and then it doesn't look quite right. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop a little bit of snail, oh my goodness, seal onto the little outer edges there, and that will secure that a little bit more in the middle. So this is just going to lay over the top of that central one, so this is where that place marker comes in really handy. So I'm just going to pop that down and cover up that shape that was already down. Okay, so there's our base card. These guys need a bit of shape to them, so I use a bit of like a sponge mat, your Stampin' Pierce mat or something like that, something with a little bit of give on it, and a ball tool, or the end of a pen, you know, the rubber on a pencil, anything like that, anything that will just give you some pressure and help you break those fibres and make those turn into little cup things. And then if you go back and just press into the centres, you get these nice little dimensional flowers that we then have to flip over again to put our glue on. So they're ready to be put onto the card as well. And then the last thing we've got is this die cut. Okay, so I've done this again in Granny Apple Green, but we're going to optimise that by, because it's not really big enough to span across there. I mean, you could, okay, but I wanted it to stretch out a little further, so I'm just going to snip it apart. So I'm just going to grab my paper snips, and there are a couple of nice opportunities within the die itself to do this. So there's a nice little section here which will break away that part, okay, and then that's all I did, because then we can just tuck away this untidy end into underneath the other dies, or the die cuts. Okay, so I'm just going to use some dabs of liquid glue here along the stems of those, and just tuck those in to there, and no one would ever know they weren't connected. Just tuck it in like so. You only need just enough glue to grab that stem, the rest is fine. Okay, and the it will be even more secure when we pop on our little flowers. So just a little bead of glue onto the back of each of those, and we can position those like we would our sort of gems, if you like. Okay, so we'll pop a couple, well, 3 I would say, it's not more than a couple. So we've got 3 coming down here, we'll have 2 up here, because those odd numbers are pleasing to the eye, and they sort of train down the card. Could add some bling as well if you wanted to. You might want to use a pokey tool or a stylus or something just to help you press that down into the glue, that glue into the card. There's a bit of texture underneath there, but essentially that is it. That is a funky background with the Nested Essentials dies. So this one used basic white, Pool Party, Night of Navy, Blueberry Bushel, and a bit of Granny Apple Green there. Okay, so you could bling that up as well if you wanted to. This one used Calypso Coral and Petal Pink. Okay, and the idea sprouted from this card, where I just used the smaller die cut all in white, and then brought in the pop of colour from the elements here. So still Granny Apple Green, this was Melamombo, and this is Pebbled Path. Okay, just to bring in something different. So there you go, that's using Nested Essentials to create a background in 3 cards for you. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it's given you some more ideas. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. Stay safe, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye.